Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where it is finally time today to do something I've been looking forward to head out to the Nürburgring GP track to drive back to back in the SLS AMG Black Series and the AMG GT R Pro. Two fairly recent additions to the Shmeemobiles garage, two cars that in many ways are very similar but also quite significantly different. Now I've driven both of them out on the Nürburgring Nordschleife itself, had an amazing time, but today I want to hop from one straight into the other to talk about how they compare, how they stack up with one another, and then probably afterwards go out for an extra session in the one that feels most appropriate. So let's do this then, have a quick intro and get straight out over to the Nürburgring GP track. When I say that in some ways these two cars are quite similar, of course the SLS AMG was the predecessor to the AMG GT. The GT R Pro has come a few generations on. This was the ultimate final dynamic hardcore version, you could say, of the SLS, but quite a few things changed between the different generations of cars. Now they are both Mercedes-AMG super sports cars, both rear-wheel drive, both with 7-speed dual-clutch gearboxes, both with front mid-engine mounted engines. This is the 6.2 naturally aspirated V8. This is of course the 4-litre Biturbo V8. Now this officially is 631 horsepower. The newer car is only, if I can say only, 585, but I would expect on the dynos the NA has lost a little bit of power and the twin turbo would make a little bit more, so probably the other way round. Now many things have changed between them as time has gone by, but they do share, for example, the same seats inside. If I open up the doors, we do have the same seats, a seat that I find incredibly comfortable. Obviously this car sounds absolutely incredible from this engine. Just to open it up and very quickly show you, just looks a little bit more old school when you see inside the engine bay, the Black Series with its black badge that it has on the top. And if we come around here, open up the GT R Pro, inside of course this one's right hand drive, the SLS is left, but we do have the lever just down there as well to come round and check out the 4-litre twin turbo that we have in here, still with the plaque on the top, but a very different setup, a much more modern setup overall. I think I'm going to take the GT R Pro out first to go get comfortable on the GP. It is today a tourist and farting day, which means tourist drives, which means it's actually a public toll road. It's not a racetrack, it's not a track day, it's a day where you have to overtake on the left and you have to follow road rules. Let's get this started up though and go straight on out to go and get started, I guess, on this back-to-back comparison between the two. It is indeed the GT R Pro then, so start it up. And that's where it's not exactly the loudest sound in the world. We will put it into race mode, it opens up the valves, gets a touch better. I'll also press into manual as well, but I'm gonna get straight on out because the way this works is that you get 15-minute sessions and there should be one very shortly. So into gear, we will head over towards the Tourist and Farton entrance on the GP track, and then take this out and go have some fun. We are almost straight out then, onto the Nürburgring Grand Prix track, where of course Formula 1 races and the likes are held. The Nürburgring 24-hour race is held, and this is, like I said, Tourist and Farton. This is where you do need to follow the road rules despite it being around the tarmac of an F1 circuit. We need to get a little bit of heat into the tyres. Obviously they are straight from cold on the Cup 2s here. So we go around on the left, on the inside there, leaning on, because this is where the GT R Pro really accelerates. It has so much front end grip. And we've got traction fully on at the moment, but you do have the GT3 inspired 9-stage traction control. Obviously there's a lot of sound that comes through the speakers, and I've talked a bit about that before. It is something that irritates me big time. I've deflated the tyres ever so slightly before we go out because it's important that when you get heat into them that they don't overinflate and that causes excess tyre wear. Obviously we've got some cool cars in front of us here, the M2 plus the Alpha 4C. So we go around the outside. It's been a while since I drove on this track. Carbon ceramics, late brake down the hill. Oh, you can feel immediately how much grip this thing has. That's astonishing. Obviously need to watch out as we go past some of the cars here. Like I say, road rules apply, guys. Tourist and Farton. So watch out a little bit for where the track goes. Some learning here on the almost sighting lap, the out lap. I've driven around here in the Senna, the Ford GT, the 675 LT, the 911 GT3, my earlier GTR and the Aston GT8, and you can definitely hold a lot more speed through here, but just getting used to it, take it easy, come up to the chicane chicane here. Don't want to go straight across the gravel, so we need to get firmly on the anchors, and the braking confidence of this car is astonishing. Obviously the GP is significantly more wearing on the brakes than when you go out onto the Nordschleife. But it's that feeling of proper racetrack, more traditional curbs and smoother tarmac. As you come in towards T1, and this is a massive braking cone, obviously from 230 kilometers an hour to a near on hairpin. And even there I've gone way too early on the brakes. But hey, got to play it safe first few laps. The thing with the Pro though is, other than the fake sound, which I'm not the biggest fan of, this car drives so phenomenally well. You can hear how easy it is to get it up towards that limit and to have so much grip. Now we do have the track package on this car. I don't have the harnesses fitted. You could have the full 4-point harnesses installed. It's the early power, how much grip you have from the front end, and obviously the back as well. The early power as you come out of corners, how quickly you can get back on it. That's where the main improvements came over the earlier GTR. Just here, stick, 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 stick into the late apex, running wide on the exit, and away you go again. This thing is quick, really, really, really quick. Now the interesting thing is traction is really intervening a lot, so I am going to press one button to put it into sport handling mode. Firm on the brakes. You can really see how much brake it uses. The carbon ceramics though have so much stopping power. Lean on the car. Wow. Not the best line there. We've got a little bit of slide on. But you know what? This car is fantastically fun and very, very welcoming. It's not a challenge to drive this car really very fast. It's not a challenge at all to just jump in and absolutely smash it quickly around a track like this. I feel like that's going to be one of the biggest differences between the two, is that in here you can just drive it. The SLS is going to take more work. Wow, those brakes and the grip. But yes, it's definitely wearing on the brakes when you drive it this fast. Okay, let's go a little bit quicker through here now. Building the pace up. Over 200 kilometers an hour through the corner there, into the chicane. Use some of the curbs. Some drizzle is starting to fall on the window, so being very aware that I've got the Cup 2 tyres on, I think that might be my time to just back it off a notch, to have a cool down lap here, because yeah, the front tyres are getting warm. We've got 85 degrees on the front right, pressure's up as well. Of course, this car gives you all sorts of information through the dash. It's got some amazing data, just metrics and things that it tells you. But where, like I've said, where this excels is that it's so brilliantly easy to drive it really fast. Like really, really fast. I know it doesn't necessarily look perhaps that quick because it's not the loudest thing in the world. It's not dramatic. You're not having to grab and saw away at the steering wheel because it's so pinpoint precise, which I know, or at least is what I expect, is where the SLS is going to be a little bit weaker. So we will take this lap a little bit easier, head back to base, and swap around. A very, very quick swap. We're on board the SLS. Let's start this up. And that is where the fun begins already. That sound from a naturally aspirated V8, it is so angry and brutal and just epic. We also, in here, have the drama of the gull wing doors, which you do have to reach for, but in terms of theatre, it's a real experience. So we're on board, into drive. In here, I'll do the settings when I get a little bit closer, but basically speaking, it's a similar type of platform, but came out about 7 years before. So some things have changed since then, and it's amazing to experience the development of technology, even in just that time. We squeeze on through, we head down the Nürburgring High Street towards the entrance to the TF on the GP. And yes, we've got some temperature, we've again deflated the tyres so that they're all good to go. Say goodbye to some guys we were chatting with, and yeah, I think it's going to be ready and set to go out with this. We are good to go then, so we're heading straight on out. We've got the Mercedes-Benz grandstand in front of us, and immediately just listen to the sound of this. There's actually a GT3 RS behind me, so I'm very promptly going to let him go past because I think he'll probably want to go a little bit quicker. So let's keep it over to the right, probably let him through. No, he's not right behind me right now. Maybe he'll catch and overtake at some point shortly. We'll warm into this a little bit again as well. Remember, this car, I think this is particularly special and priceless, so we want to be extra careful with it, but just listen already to the ferocity of those downshifts, the sound and the emotional connection of the Pro. Just is nothing like this. Even if this doesn't quite have the same sharpness, it's killer loud though. What a sound, what an absolutely mega sound. And again, we've basically got the track to ourselves here, the tarmac to ourselves, the road to ourselves, maybe I should say. Absolutely incredible. It's all about the sound. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is actually coming to life as well. This is more than I expected from this car. And this is just the warm-up outlap. This is going to get really interesting when I start to get a little bit further through and onto second and third, and it's all a bit more ready to go. Let's hope those grey clouds ahead though don't bring rain with them. That's going to get quite interesting quite quickly. The sound is just unreal. We've basically got the same kind of tyres on this car, the Michelin Sport Cup 2s. Small back off of the corner. Obviously just warming into it a little bit. Into the chicane, firm on the brakes. Little bit of traction intervening there. This car is such a feisty kind of beast that traction when it's on interferes quite frequently to save you from messing up. But it must sound epic going down the start straight here. No sign of the GT3 RS behind. We'll go easy on the brakes into T1 here. Take it very tight. Right round, that's one of the hardest corners. It's so cool when there's a race, one of the RCNs or VLNs or the N24. Leading on out. Actually catching up with the biker ahead. The bikes normally go just ahead of the cars, so on a slightly different pattern, but obviously we're getting a decent pace on around here. Yeah, there we go. Traction throttled the car massively there. So at this point I will press it once and we will go into sport handling mode. I do need to be a little bit conscious of what that means. Hopefully the bike has noticed that we're behind. He looks like he's keeping right, thank you very much. Slide on through. There we go, I think traction would have throttled it back a little bit there before. Nice to be released. I noticed the speeds are slightly slower than the Pro was managing because it doesn't have the same confidence and it's not set up the same way. There's less camber on the front. You can see that actually when the two cars are parked side by side. Which is a little bit down to the configuration. I think the Pro was introduced with the expectation that everybody who buys one is going to drive it on the track, so the setup is very much prepared for that. A little bit late on the braking there. I tell you what, with a few drops falling on the front window, I need to be already underfoot, or under rubber maybe I should say. Come up towards the chicane. 210 on the dash there. I mean, this thing is very, very quick. Do not underestimate it. Just needs a little bit more manhandling than the GTR to get everything out of it as we come around the final corner, out onto the start straight of the GP with the wipers running. A bit more rain on the front window as we come in. The brakes are obviously very, very impressive, but not the same level of performance as the GTR Pro. Just being super aware now that we've got a little bit of water on the front window, but it's still amazingly planted, you know? Really, 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 really stuck to the tarmac. So we use the runoff here. I love those downshifts, absolutely love them. Brakes with this, just slightly less confident. He says we're holding some big forces around there. The sound when it gets up to 8,000 RPM though, just absolutely unreal. But you know what? I am actually, after T1, going to cool it down again. This has been awesome fun. But this is really, really quite an endurance test on the cars, this track, with some heavy, heavy, heavy braking zones. So that was fascinating. I genuinely think this isn't as much slower as I thought it was. I expected before going out that this would feel noticeably slower. I think the Pro has slightly more cornering grip, but I do think in the straight line that this is right up there. This is really, really interesting, actually, the comparison between the two. I kid you not, no more than 2 minutes after we have left the GP, this is the weather now. This is so much what you get in the Eiffel Mountains. It can be beautiful sunshine, the next minute rain. We're heading towards the Nürburgring Castle, going past some of the test centres and things that you have here. But I think if I had been oh look, another AMG GTR in brilliant blue. Lovely, normal GTR. Oh no, that's a GTR with Pro fenders, I think. Interesting. But yes, this now I think would have been game, set and match, and no laps out on the GP. This is not ideal. Anyway, we'll pull back up here, put the two cars side by side again, and maybe I'll take a chill, let the rain hopefully stop in the not too distant future. Oh goodness, this is no fun at all. This is exactly what happens out here in the Eiffel Mountains. From rain to sun to rain, and in probably another 5 minutes it's going to be sunny again. But that was a fascinating experience to go from one of the cars to the other, to see how they stack up, and to take in some of those driving dynamic differences and similarities. And most likely, I would think, if you were out on a track day with lap timing and things, the SLS Black Series is actually probably closer, if not matching, the GTR Pro than I expected. But the Pro gives you this confidence. It feels like it's completely planted. It allows you to get really close to the limit very, very easily, whereas this takes a bit more work. The SLS needs you to be more focused, to be more concentrated, to be more involved in exactly what you're doing. I think I've got a good way to summarize how I would choose. If you were going to be pumping lap after lap after lap on a track day, a track tool, you'd go for the GTR Pro. This car just feels like it can handle it endlessly. Of course, it's a generation ahead. It's a bit more modern in terms of the technology and the data as well. But if you're basically using the car mostly on the road, the occasional track day tool, this has so much emotional connection. The feel that you have from the SLS, that thumping and thunderous V8, the grumbles, the snaps on the downshifts, this car has such a connection to you. It is so special that, I mean, it's been my dream car for a reason, right? It's a really, really, really cool thing to get to experience. So this has been amazing. I've seen why the Pro makes sense. Using it on the Nordschleife, using it now on the GP, having a lot of fun with it. But ultimately for me, This is so special. Can you imagine what the next generation Black Series is going to be like? I think we all know the Black Series of the AMG GT is following very soon, but this kind of ethos and character in one of those with a lot more power, that is going to be a mental track machine. For now though, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the two cars together out during Touristenfahrten here at the Nürburgring, but that is it for today, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!